management of natural resources. Learning about management of natural resources. Anything in the environment which can be used is called natural resource. Some of the natural resources are forest and wildlife, water, coal, and petroleum. A system of controlling the use of natural resources in such a way to avoid their wastage and to use them in the most effective way is called management of natural resources. The development which meets the current basic human needs and also preserves the resources for the need of future generations is called sustainable development. And to protect the environment from harm and destruction is said to conserve the environment. Why do we need to manage our resources? All the things which we use or consume, such as food, clothes, books, toys, furniture, tools, water, and vehicles, etc., are obtained from resources on this earth. Why do we need to use our resources carefully? Natural resources are not unlimited, and with the human population increasing at a tremendous rate due to improvement in healthcare, the demand for all resources is increasing at an exponential rate. Another factor to be considered while we exploit these natural resources is the damage we cause to environment while these resources are either extracted or used. For example, if some forest trees have to be cut for various purposes, then the damage to the environment can be minimized by planting new saplings in place of cut down trees. Forest and wildlife. A large area of land on which trees and other plants grow naturally is called a forest. And the wild animals like lion, tiger, elephant, deer, snakes, etc., and birds which live in a forest are called wildlife. The plant and animals of a forest are called flora and fauna, respectively. Due to the presence of a large number of species of plants and animals like bacteria, fungi, ferns, flowering plants, nematodes, insects, birds, reptiles, and so on is also important. Forests are said to be biodiversity hotspots. One of the main aims of the management of forest and wildlife is to conserve the biodiversity which we have inherited. Experiments and field studies suggest that a loss of diversity may lead to a loss of ecological stability. We all use various forest produce, but our dependency on forest resources varies. The local people need large quantities of firewood, small timber, and thatch. Bamboo is used to make slats for huts and baskets for collecting and storing food materials. Implements for agriculture, fishing, and hunting are largely made of wood. In addition to people gather fruits, nuts, and medicines from the forest, their cattle also graze in forest areas or feed on another fodder which is collected from the forests. vast tracts of forest have been converted to monocultures of pine, teak, and eucalyptus. In order to plant these trees, huge areas are first cleared of all vegetation. This destroys a large amount of biodiversity in the area. Not only this, the varied need of the local people, leaves for fodder, herbs for medicines, fruits and nuts for food, can no longer be met from such forests. Such plantations like pine, teak, or eucalyptus are useful for the industries to access specific products and are an important source of revenue for the forest department. Timber, paper, lac, and sports equipments depend on forest produce. Industries would consider the forest as merely a source of raw material for its factories. One cannot turn a blind eye to the deforestation caused by industrial needs or development projects like building roads or dams. A major program called silviculture has been started to replenish the forest by growing more trees and plants. The silviculture has many advantages. It produces a large quantity of raw material for industry, like timber and paper industry. It increases the area of earth under forest, which is good for the conservation of wildlife. It maintains a perfect water cycle in nature. It prevents soil erosion. It prevents the food. It is very important to conserve wildlife to maintain the ecological balance in nature and to preserve the gene pool. Some of the measures or steps to be taken for the conservation of wildlife are as follows. Laws should be made to impose a total ban on poaching, that is killing or capturing of animal or bird belonging to an endangered species. Even if some types of wild animals and birds are in abundance today, their indiscriminating killing should not be allowed by the forest authorities. The natural habitats of wild animals and birds should be preserved by establishing national parks and sanctuaries throughout the country. The government department connected with the conservation of wildlife should conduct periodical survey in all the forests, national parks and sanctuaries to have a knowledge of the population of all the species of wild animals and birds. Special attention should be paid to the conservation of endangered species of wild animals and birds to prevent their extinction altogether. The unauthorized cutting of forest trees for timber trade and fuel wood should be stopped immediately. In the case of government-authorized cutting of forest trees, for every acre of forest cut down, an equal area of land should be planted with saplings of trees to make up for the loss in the long run. Summary: our resources like forest, wildlife, water, coal, and petroleum need to be used in a sustainable manner. Management of forest resources has to take into account the interest of various stakeholders. Laws should be made to impose a total ban on poaching, that is killing or capturing of animal or bird belonging to an endangered species. So that is all in this topic. let us learn about how to conserve water as it is very precious. Till then, keep learning.